Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Winner's Circle. I'm Rob O'Neill and I'm great to have you on board. Basically, welcome to the group. This is going to be freaking awesome. I'm super excited to share a ton of really cool advice and content with you guys. So ask your questions, any questions you have about building a digital products business, about marketing online, about entrepreneurship, go ahead and ask. You know, I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I've had a ton of really great mentors in this space as well. So yeah, I'll share everything I want to know. Basically, my purpose with this group is to give you so much value that we just make everyone else look like a bunch of idiots. Okay, so it's going to be really, really awesome, and I'm excited to have you on board. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be talking about this week is creating a best-selling digital product, right? I ran a poll the other day for what our first topic of the week was going to be, and that's what you guys voted for, so that's what we're going to be talking about. But before we get into that, I just want to explain a little bit about how this group is going to work as we go forward. So, for the most part, we're just going to be talking about anything that you guys want to discuss, right? If you ask your questions, if you want to share things about business, about entrepreneurship, or about digital marketing, go ahead and do that, and we can just, all get involved and help each other out. And I'll answer all of your questions as well. But then every so often, we're going to have a specific topic of the week where we're just going to double down and focus on and master that particular subject, right? So this week, we're going to be talking about product creation, and in the future we're going to talk about marketing, about sales funnels, about all that kind of good stuff, right? About building a 6 or 7 figure online business. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you a couple of the tools that I use that I learned from my mentors Frank Kern and Eben Pagan to create my first digital product, which was resoundingly successful. It sold out completely in the first week. It made me a whole bunch of profit, and it was fantastic. And that was just in the air rifle industry of all things, right? A really weird little niche. And basically what I did was I created a product about how to custom build kind of high precision competition grade air rifles for people. And I sort of tapped into what my market was talking about, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And the problems that my market was experiencing, and I created some innovations in there. So I was one of the first people to add electronic triggers into the air rifles and explain how to actually do it. Back then it was all DIY because there wasn't anyone creating products. But if you go back and you look on Google like electronic air rifle trigger use or something like that, you'll find loads of discussions about this from like 2010 and stuff like that. So that was back when I was doing this, and it was a really big thing. So that's what I created my product on: how to create high precision competition grade air rifles, and how to create custom built electronic triggers, so you get a really clean trigger pull, much more precise shots, etc. Right? So how I came to the conclusion that that's the product I should create is by following the 2 golden rules that I'm about to teach you. So golden rule number 1 is never ever create a product that you don't know is going to sell. Okay, never create a product that you don't know will sell. Right? Never create a product that you don't know will sell. Hopefully you guys can read my handwriting. I know it's pretty terrible. So the thing about this is a lot of people, when they're just getting started in this sort of information products industry, is they'll come up with some idea for a product that they like, and they won't consider their market. They won't consider whether it actually provides a benefit or whether it solves a problem for their customers. And they'll run with it because they like the idea, and then they'll go and they'll invest a ton of time and money and energy into creating a product, and it'll fail because it doesn't actually offer any real value to their marketplace, right? So what you always want to be doing is performing market research before you invest any of your time, any of your energy, or any of your money into creating that product, right? Because the last thing that you want to happen in your business, or really just in general in life, is for you to invest a whole bunch of time and energy and money into creating something and then just have it be a complete failure, right? We don't want to do that. So you've got to perform your market research and you've got to find out what your market wants and then give them that, right? Just because you like the idea doesn't mean that people are actually going to want to pay for it and buy it. And a really perfect example of this is a lady I worked with recently, and she's in this kind of performance arts dance kind of space, and she had this idea for a product she wanted to create about kind of like interpretive dance or something like that. And I kept asking her these questions. You know, she wanted to work with me, and during the kind of pre-screening thing, she was talking about a product, and she was like, oh yeah, this, and I was like, okay, what problem does it solve for your market? What benefits does it provide your customers, right? And she couldn't answer these questions. And I kept asking her, she didn't have answers to them. And anyway, she didn't want to take my advice, so I refused to work with her. And she went off and she created that product anyway, despite what I told her, and it completely failed, right? So she spent a whole bunch of time and energy. I think it took her like a really long time to create the product as well, because she didn't have my help, because I didn't want to work with her if she wouldn't take my advice. And it just flopped, right? It completely flopped, right? Because she didn't obey these two golden rules. And the first one of those is knowing that your product is going to sell. And how you do that is, like I said, find out what problems your market's experiencing. Okay, that means listening to people. You know, see what questions you're being asked by your audience. See what people are talking about in Facebook groups, in web forums, in the comments of YouTube videos, right? What are people struggling with? Where are their problem areas? Where are their challenges that you can help them overcome? If you can identify those key points, then you can find out what kind of product to create, what you should be including in that product, and then you'll be onto a winning formula, okay? The second golden rule is always solve a problem, okay? Right? Always solve a problem, or a set of problems as well. Now, if you're creating something like a little ebook, you can just solve one specific problem a lot of the time, and you can help people get from, you know, point A to point B, and that's going to be great. Or if you're creating a big, like, in-depth course, you might want to solve a whole set of problems and get people some real huge results, right? And then you're going to be able to charge hundreds or potentially even thousands of dollars for that, right? And you can apply these two rules to really any kind of informational product, right? So that includes things like live events. So if you ever want to get into doing live events, which can be huge for growing your business, then you can also apply these two rules, and you can use that to help you work out what you're going to talk about. So these are very, very important, right? And I followed these two rules when I was creating my first ever product. I was living in like a tiny one-bedroom apartment. I was broke as a joke. I was using a second-hand laptop that I bought for like 15 or 20 bucks or something. It was like really crap. The side was all broken and stuff, right? But I followed these two golden rules and it worked, and I had tons of customers. I had customers from all over the planet, from like Norway and Sweden and the US and Europe and all kinds of stuff, right? And that was because I gave my customers something they wanted, right? I tapped into the zeitgeist in my marketplace, you know, what people are talking about, what's the buzz right now, and I worked out what their problems were, and I gave them a solution, right? I solved a specific, clear problem for them. And the great thing about following this rule is, when you're solving a specific problem with your product, it gives you a clear outcome, a clear benefit, which you can market your product on, right? So for example, my original product, my first product in creating air rifles, custom building air rifles, I could market that product on, hey, you're going to get better accuracy, you're going to get cleaner, crisper trigger pulls, you're going to get much more, accurate range and all this kind of stuff. And that's something that people want and that people are always striving for and tweaking and, testing things out and trying to achieve in that marketplace. And I knew that that's what people wanted, right? So I gave them something that I already knew they wanted, something that I already knew there was a demand for. So that's rule 1 and 2, right? Only create a product that you know there is a demand for, and always solve a problem for your marketplace. And if you follow those 2 things, you're going to be on to a winner, right? It's very, very hard to create a product following these 2 rules that isn't successful. Do you see what I'm saying there? So the next thing I want to talk to you about is the product creation framework that I use. And this is the same framework that every successful marketer in this industry uses, okay? It's really, really great stuff. So I got this from my mentor Frank Kern, and he uses this to create his products. My other mentor Eben Pagan also uses this to create his products, and I know that a ton of other successful marketers out there use this framework when they're coming up with their products. Okay, so what this does is it gives you a complete template for which to create your product around and what information to include in it. It makes the whole process very, very easy. So let's say that we were trying to create an ebook about how to play professional poker, right? Because it's just a really simple example there. So if our customer is starting off here as an amateur, right? So they're just an amateur and they keep losing poker games and they're really upset, and they want to get up to here where they can be a pro and they can go and play poker and they can maybe win some money, right? What we have to do first is ask ourselves question 1, where is our customer coming from, right? They're coming from the place of being an amateur, which means they probably know very little about the game or nothing about the game, and we want to get them to, right, this is question number 2, where do they want to get? What result do they want? So we want to get them to the level that they can play competitively and compete and win some money playing poker. So then what we have, when we have a start point for our product and an end point for our product, right? So a beginning and an outcome, then we can go through and we can find out how we get our customer from point A to point B. So the first thing they might have to learn if they're an amateur is what all the cards are, right? What are the values of the different cards? What order they go in, the king, the queen, the jack, the ace, which is better, what their values are. Alright, so that might be the first thing they have to learn. The second thing they might have to learn is the hands. So when you play those cards together in a hand, who wins? How do you know if you've won? How do you know if your competitors won? How do you know which hand beats which? If you've got a straight or a flush or a full house or 2 aces, who's the winner? Right? So you'll need to learn that. The next thing they might need to learn is when to call, when to fold, and when to raise. Alright, so I'll just put CFR for that. Right, so that might be the next thing they have to learn, how to actually play the game. And then the last thing they might have to learn to kind of get up to that pro level player is common tells that people have. So how do you know if your opponent's bluffing, right? How do you know if they're trying to sneak something out on you, So tells. And what this does is it gives us the information that we need to include in our product. So just by working out a start point, working out the result that our customer is trying to get, and then filling in what they need to learn to get from point A to point B, we can create an entire framework for a product, you see? So this could become chapter 1, this could become chapter 2, this could become chapter 3, and this could become chapter 4, and then this would be your introduction, and this will be your conclusion. Right, so then you've got like a 6-chapter book right there, right? You've got an introductory chapter where you talk about introducing them to the game. Then you explain all the cards, you explain all the hands, you explain how to actually, play, call, fold, raise, all this kind of stuff, the betting. You explain the tells, and then you conclude with them reaching that competitive professional level player. Now, I don't actually play poker, this is just an example, so if you're a pro poker player or something and you're watching this and you're like, Rob, this is all wrong, right, don't freak out, it's just an example, okay, I have no idea about poker. So, this gives us a framework to create our products, right? And as I said, this can be chapter 1. Now, if this is a more complex subject, you might have way more of these, right? You might have like 20 of these bullet points to get your customer from point A to point B. In that case, that works too, right? You can just extend this out as long as you want. And if these are really complex, in-depth subjects, each of these kind of milestones in your product or your industry, you can actually just take this same framework and you can break it down into each of your chapters, right? So within each of your chapters, you can use the same framework again. So hey, to learn this, they have to learn, X, Y, and Z before they understand this. And so you can fill this out to as detailed a level as you want, and it'll give you a complete framework for what you have to put into the product, you see? So now we know we can go and write this book, and this is exactly what we have to talk about. You're never going to experience writer's block. You're never going to be sitting there wondering what to put in next, wondering what order to put your content in, wondering what you should talk about at what point of the course and how you should explain it, right? Because you have this framework. It's like a list of bullet points, and all you do is you go in there and you fill in the information. And if you're a good poker player and you know how to play poker, then you know all this stuff already, right? Because it's your market, you know all this stuff. So all you do is you sit down, you say, hey, I'm writing about cards. And you write down everything you know about cards. And you say, hey, I'm writing about playing hands. And you put down everything you know about playing hands, right? And you just steam right through it. It's very fast, very efficient, and you're done. You get the product done. And like I said, if you want to turn this into a giant, course, you can use this for courses as well. If each of these, instead of just being a little chapter in a book, becomes an entire module, right? So these could be your modules, and then you could go in each of your modules and say, hey, to complete this module, they have to do all these different lessons. Lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, right? So you can work that out. Obviously, it's going to vary depending on you, depending on your market and the product you're creating and how advanced you want to get. But this is basically how you do it. And you can use this to create anything from a little tiny ebook all the way up to a giant full-featured course that you can charge thousands of dollars for, okay? But this is how it's done, right? This is how you create a product framework. This is how you build out a curriculum. And this is how people like myself, people like Frank Kern, people like Eben, people like Ryan Dice, all build our products, right? Everyone does this. Okay, this is the secret to creating a very successful product that gets your customers results, right? That's the other great thing. If you use this, you know that you're hitting all the points, and you know that you're providing all the information that you need to do to get your customer that result, which means when your customers do get great results, they're gonna leave you positive feedback. Your refund rate is gonna be much, much lower, and it's gonna be super good for your business just all around, okay? So that's really what I wanted to explain to you guys. This framework, while very simple, makes a world of difference. Right, a world of difference. It makes your whole product creation process very, very simple. Now, when it comes to actually hashing out the content, there are a couple things you can do. Firstly is obviously just sitting down and writing it out. I do that a lot. I actually don't mind writing. I quite enjoy writing. For other people, they might hate it. Right, so one is obviously writing it out. For other people, if you're someone that hates writing, if you don't want to be sitting in front of your computer typing all day, record it. Right? Record it. Just take your phone or your microphone on your computer and just speak out your product and get it transcribed. Right? If you take a recording, transcribe it, and then you can just send that transcription out, right? So you can just record an audio copy of it. You can give that to someone on like outsource.com or whatever the fuck, and you can just get them to transcribe it, and then you can edit that transcription. You can turn that into your product, or you can obviously film it, which is probably the easiest one to do, although you need a little bit of experience in front of a camera. I mean, as you can see, I'm far from like a perfect TV presenter, but I film a lot of my products and it turns out really great, right? People like video, people like consuming video. Video consumption is way up, and things like reading consumption is way down by comparison. So filming it or recording it is an audio format. They're really great ways to create a product, and they have higher perceived value than just something like an ebook as well, so that's really cool. But you can create a product very quickly, right? Because if you use that framework that we just talked about a moment ago, and then you just sit down and you just speak your mind and share the information you know about each of those subjects, and you record yourself doing that, boom, you've got a product right there, done, right? You can do that in a couple days and be finished, and then you can just flesh it out and turn it into something nice and something more presentable that you can actually sell to your market. But that's really it. That's really all you have to do to create a good digital product these days. It's so very easy and fast, and you can make a whole bunch of money doing it. Now, for some of you, you might be wondering, okay, well that's great, but why would I create a digital product? Why wouldn't I just sell an affiliate product? And the biggest reason for this is captured value. Okay? Because if you are selling an affiliate product and you assume, let's say, the average affiliate commission is only 50%, right? And I know it varies, sometimes it'll be like 10%, sometimes it'll be like 75% or whatever. But let's just say the average affiliate commission is 50%. That means if you're selling your product for whatever amount of money, that affiliate product, you're already losing half of that value just by the fact that it's an affiliate product, right? You're capturing half as much value and you're making half as much money just by the very fact that it's an affiliate product. Then if you detract the costs of you selling the product, of you acquiring leads, building your list, running your business, paying yourself, all this kind of stuff, right? Then maybe you're down at 25%. Right? It takes another 25% off. So now you're only capturing a quarter of the value of the product you're selling just because it's an affiliate product. Whereas if you're selling your own product, right? If you're selling your own product, it might cost you like 10% to deliver, if that. I mean, delivering information products is insanely cheap, and it might cost you, 20-25% to sell it still, in which case you're still capturing, let's say 20% to sell it, right? So your costs of goods sold then is only 30%, which means you're keeping 70% of the value of your product. Right, so if you were selling a $100 product, if you're selling it as an affiliate product, then you're only receiving $25, right? If it's a $100 product and you're only capturing 25% of the value with an affiliate product, you're only making 25 bucks. Whereas if you're selling your own product and you're capturing 70% of the value, or potentially even more, you're making 70 bucks, and that's on the same product, okay? So this is why it's so important for your business, long run, to actually create your own products, because it can be the difference between making, $20,000 a month and making $100,000 a month. It's that big of a difference, right? So it's really, really huge. The other thing that it does for you is if you're selling the affiliate product and you know that you only have $25 to work with, right, after all your costs, you can only spend $25 on marketing to acquire your leads. Whereas if you are selling your own product and you have $70 left, suddenly you can spend a whole bunch of money to acquire leads and outcompete your competitors, outbid your competitors for those leads, and you're still going to have enough money left over. You see what I'm saying? Right? You could spend like $50 and still make $20. You could spend $45 and still make $25 and still make as much money as that other product and acquire a ton of leads while you do it, acquire a ton of customers to grow your business. Right? So using your own products in your business is game changing for you. So if you're working with affiliate products right now and you've been thinking about creating your own products and wondering if it's worth doing and why you should do it, that's exactly why. And yes, it's absolutely worth doing. The value of affiliate products is in the fact that you can sell your products and then you can upsell some other affiliate products on the top, right? So let's say you include little affiliate links in your newsletter and then you sell your product in between. Now you can add value to your lifetime customer value doing that, but you shouldn't really use the affiliate product as your mainstay for your business, because you can do that starting out, that's absolutely fine before you've created your own product, but when you're established and you're running like a real business, you want to move to creating and selling your own products, right? Because of what I've just explained, because of that captured value. So hopefully this really helped you guys out, and you're going to see a lot more content like this in this group. Ask your questions, leave comments down below if you have any further questions. If you want clarification on anything I've talked about in this video, if you want to make suggestions, whatever, drop a comment, right? Check out my social media, follow me. If you haven't used the free resources on my website yet, go to iamroboneil.com and you'll find there you can sign up, you can opt in with your email and you can access my free library of resources. There's like a cheat sheet there of profitable niches. There's like 3 ebooks or something. There's an audio course for you, like a whole audio course that you can just have for free. There's all kinds of cool stuff, right? So go and make use of that. It's there for you to use. And like I said, I want to give you so much value that we just make everyone else look like idiots, okay? So this has been really cool, and like I said, drop your comments and I'll see you soon.